Are you looking to throw some gas on the fire in your business? Well, there is no better way to get more traffic and leads than by leveraging the power of Facebook and Instagram ads. There is also no better way to quickly throw away a ton of money. Running social ads is tricky, but can be a game changer in your business. In this video, I'm going to go over everything you need to know to get started with Facebook and Instagram ads. Let's jump in. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Liquis Digital Marketing Podcast. Today we are talking about Facebook and Instagram ads. And this is really an episode for someone who's just getting started with Instagram or Facebook ads, someone who maybe has tried running ads and have little to no success with it. So we're going to go over the basics and what you need to know to get started with some tips and tricks and things. So just to kind of outline some of the things we'll be talking about in this episode, we're going to talk about how social ads are different than other ads, the difference between Facebook ads and Instagram ads, what every beginner needs to stop doing. We're going to go over the different elements of an ad and then picking the right audience. And then we're going to touch on retargeting. So, okay, let's jump into this. Social ads. What makes social ads different than, let's say, Google AdWords? Well, social ads are interruptive. So when someone sees your social ad, it's because you targeted them and now your ad is placed in their feed. So as they're scrolling through their social media, now they're seeing your ad. They weren't looking for you, you found them and showed them your ad. Huge difference than, let's say, Google AdWords. If someone sees your ad on Google AdWords, it's because they searched some keyword phrase and have some intent and now see your ad. Social, completely different. So it's important to know that because really it ties in with how you run your ads and what you say in your ads. Way different. So with that understanding, let's move on. What's the difference between Facebook ads and Instagram ads? Well, honestly, nothing. They are all ran from the Facebook ad manager. The only difference is there's different platforms. Now, there might be some different sizes, some different types of ads you can run from one to the next, but in theory, there really isn't a difference, right? You can run ads on Instagram and you can run ads on Facebook. You can run that same ad on both, and it's all happening from one place. So obviously Facebook owns Instagram, right? So if you didn't know that, you do now. The one thing every beginner needs to stop doing with their Facebook ads, and everybody does this, I've done it, we've all done it. Well, most people have done it, and that is boosting your post. The problem is boosting your post isn't necessarily bad, but the problem with that is you don't have as much control as you do as if you use Facebook Business Manager. So if you're serious about getting results in your Facebook ads, Facebook and Instagram, if I just say Facebook ads, I mean Facebook and Instagram ads. If you're serious about getting results, you really, really need to start using the Facebook Business Manager if you're not already. It just gives you way more tools. The other piece is if you're just boosting a post, then you probably don't necessarily have an ad strategy behind what you're doing, which is a huge piece of this. If you're just randomly like boosting ads to get more views, but with no real strategy or reason, then you are going to be just throwing away money. So you need to start using Facebook Business Manager. Just Google it and create an account. It's super easy to set up. Once you have that Facebook Business Manager, it could be a little overwhelming when you first see it. So I'm going to break down the different parts of an ad and when you get into the back end. So basically, it kind of breaks down into three pieces. You have campaigns. Inside of a campaign, you have ad sets. And inside of ad sets, you have your ads. So how is this? What's the difference and why would that even be the case? Well, with campaigns, what those are is basically a campaign is where you set the objective of your ads and also your price. You can have multiple campaigns, and basically it's kind of like the big overarching container for your ad campaign. So the reason why you'd have multiple ad campaigns is obviously if you're running different types of campaigns for different things. The other reason is if you have different objectives. An objective might be, I want to run a traffic ad, or I want to run a lead ad, a lead form ad, or I want to run a messenger ad, or I want to run a video view ad, or I want to run a conversion ad. So these are all different types of ads you can run, and the difference is how Facebook is going to distribute those and the goal that you're looking to get out of this ad campaign. So let's take an example. If you're looking to run a traffic ad campaign, what that means is you're looking to get as much traffic to the source of your ad, meaning let's say the source of your ad is to go to a specific URL on your website. So we're just driving traffic to your website. A traffic ad is going to get you as much traffic as it can for the money you spend, right? So that's its goal. It doesn't care about anything else. It's just going to get you as much traffic. Okay, let's say your ad is a brand awareness ad. That means your ad is going to go out there and it's going to run as much as it can and give you as many impressions as it can. So it's going to find people that are likely to watch and engage and just get you as many impressions, get your ad in front of as many people as possible. Let's say you want to run a video view ad. Then your ad is going to go out and run in front of people who are likely to view the video. And it's going to track the video views and how much of that video was watched. That would be the goal. Let's say you run a conversion ad. Then you would specify what that conversion is so it knows, and then basically it's going to run your ad to as many people as it can that is going to make that conversion happen. And the goal and what it logs is going to be that conversion. So that's the campaign and campaign objective when you pick your campaign type. So it's the big container. Inside of a campaign, you're going to have ad sets. Now you can have multiple ad sets within an ad campaign. Ad sets basically handle all of the targeting and audience for your ads. So when you want to run a video view ad, or let's just say a traffic ad, right? So a traffic ad is going to show it to as many people that it thinks it's going to click on your button and go to your website. Drive as much traffic as it can. Your targeting is set to, what age group, what interests do they have? The list goes on, right? You can do a ton of different things in targeting, and that's really one of the beauties of the whole Facebook ad system is its ability to target people. So ad sets is where you would set your targeting and your audience. Also, with ad sets, so you can have multiple ad sets. Within your campaign, you have multiple ad sets. Like what are some examples of why you would have these different ad sets? Well, let's say you're running a traffic ad and you want to test out some different audiences, right? So maybe you're selecting a couple different interests in these different ads. Well, if you just created one ad set and just added all of those interests, you wouldn't be able to really test those interests out because it's just going to show that ad to all of the people where you've selected these interests. What you can do is now separate out your ads into different ad sets, meaning I can say, okay, I want this ad set to only run to people that are interested in this. And then I want to run this ad, and it can be the same ad, but I'm just going to have this ad set make it go to only people that are interested in this. So now you can start to break out your interest in your targeting, so you can test and you can run. And then sometimes you really just want to run. You're not just testing, but I want to run this ad to this audience and this ad to this audience, but it's all still part of the same main campaign. Okay, so that's ad sets. Moving on to ads. So ads are basically inside of your ad sets. Now you can have multiple ads within an ad set. This is really your actual ad. And there's a lot of different information that you can fill out here. But basically, this is where you would upload your video. This is where you would upload your image. This is where you would set your headline text, where you would put your copy of your ad, where you would set the link. all of that stuff, right? If it's going to be a carousel ad, all of that. So this is where you would set the ad set. This is where you would set the ad. And there's a lot of stuff that goes into like creating the actual ad, right? So like using the right images, using the right copy, and that is definitely that's going to be a next episode, because we really want to go through just like the core of the whole system and get into more of like strategies and tips in a different video, because there's really strategies and tips when it comes to that ad sets and targeting your ads, and then there's tips and tricks in running your ads, like your ads themselves and ad copy and choosing the right creative. So we're going to break those down in some future episodes. Okay, so those are the three pieces of when you get into Facebook Business Manager and you start running your ads. Okay, so there's a couple other pieces that tie in to these ads, and one of them is audiences. So this is a big one. So audiences are basically an audience of people. So you can create your own audience, or you can use, an audience such as like an interest or, demographics or, When we talk about audiences and you creating audiences, some examples of that might be, people that have interacted with you or visited your website, or people who have liked your page, stuff like that, right? So you can create your own audiences. There's really a ton of different things you can do, and we're going to jump into a little bit more in the next section about audiences. But basically, there's a whole area inside of Business Manager where you can create and control your audiences. And maybe an audience is people that have taken action. So now you know that they've taken action, and you have this audience, so you can exclude them from seeing your ad anymore, right? So there's another reason to have some audiences. The next piece that you need to know is conversions and custom conversions. So if you're going to get into the point, and you should be getting to the point of running a conversion ad, you need to specify what that conversion is. So Facebook has some default ones. So default ones would be viewed a page, let's say added something to their cart, purchased something, so there's a purchase conversion that you can select. So there's some default ones. But you can also create custom ones. For example, let's say you are running an ad for a free download, and they go to the landing page, they fill out the form, they hit submit, and then it redirects them to a thank you page. Now this thank you page is actually stating that, hey, the conversion happened. So what we would do is create a custom conversion and say anyone who has visited this thank you page in the last so many days, we want to count them as a conversion. Okay, if someone has taken that action, then they're a conversion. So now when we go to run our ads and we create our ad, we select anyone who has made this happen, or who has downloaded this and visited this page. This is a conversion. So now it knows what to track, and then it comes up in your reporting. So that would be an example of creating a custom conversion and what conversions are. So that's a whole nother area. Then this segues into the pixel. So how does it know that someone visited your website? How does it know someone went to that thank you page? How does it know that they clicked on your ad, then took some action? Because you would have or need to have a pixel installed. So I'm sure by now you've heard of pixels. Facebook has them. Really all of the different social media channels have them. Google has them. Basically, it's just a snippet of code that allows the system to track their actions, people's actions. It's super simple. Let's say you have a WordPress site. You just basically install a plugin inside of your Facebook Business Manager. You would just create a pixel. You only need one pixel, and it's going to give you a code. You're going to take that code, you're going to copy and paste it into your website. If you don't know how to do it, just send it to your web guy and they'll do it. There's a lot of tools to get this done. It's a pretty easy process. Anyway, once you have that pixel installed on your site, now the system knows, hey, this person clicked on this ad and now they went to this page. And then they viewed this information. And then maybe 2 days later they come back and then now they've viewed it again and actually like went to the thank you page and now they converted. So that's what the pixel is. It allows you to track all of this stuff and create these audiences and track these conversions. The other piece, and this is somewhat newer, not super new, but with a lot of the changes over the last few years with Facebook ads, you have to verify your domain. So this is another area inside the Facebook Business Manager where you have to go in and just verify your domain. And to do this, there's a couple different ways, but typically you might have to like add a little something to your domain settings or upload a file to your website. It just needs to know that you have access to where this domain. So you just have to verify that. Let's move on and talk about the right audiences and how to select the right audiences. So when you're thinking about social ads, it's interruptive marketing, right? So people aren't looking for you, you're looking for them and you're interrupting their flow. So you have people who are typically a cold audience, right? So they're scrolling and now they see your ad. And if it's enticing for them to watch or to take action and interrupt them and then take action, which happens a lot. This works. It works. That's running an ad to a cold audience. Other types would be like a warm audience. So a warm audience would be someone who actually has visited your website, has interacted with your social media, someone who has seen or heard of you before, right? So they're warmed up. They're a warmer audience. So there's some different types of audiences that we can use. So and we kind of talked about this a little bit, but there's interest audiences, which if you're just getting started is great. And actually, not even if you're just getting started, really in any time, it's great to have some type of ads running where you're targeting people's interest. So interest might be they're, interested in something in your industry. So if let's say they're from us or we're running a web design ad and we want to target people that are interested in WordPress or interested in maybe, entrepreneurs or, starting their business or, that would be an interest. So we're just going to target our ad to people that have these interests, right? So that's interest targeting. That's targeting a cold audience. Some other types of audiences would be lookalike audiences. So basically a lookalike audience is basically where you take an audience you've created. So let's use an example. Let's say we have an audience that we created of people that have visited our website in the last 90 days. And let's say there's, 2,000 people on this list. Now, what it's going to do, if we were to create a lookalike audience of that audience, what it's going to do is say, okay, I'm going to take these 2,000 people and I'm going to create a list of 1 million or 2 million, and you can set this number of people in, let's say, the United States or whatever country you select. I'm going to find 1 million people that have the same types of likes and interest and interactions and types of people. They're going to basically find an audience that looks like the audience you selected. So this is a great way where it's still a cold audience, right? They don't know you yet, but it's a little bit warmer because at least we know they're like the people that know you. So it's a lookalike audience, super powerful. That would be the next level up from an interest audience. And then there's custom audiences. So these are definitely should be warmer audiences. So things like social interaction, people that have visited your website, people that have viewed your videos, kind of touching a little bit more on a couple of those. Social interaction. So what you can do with your social interaction audiences is you can create an audience of anyone who has interacted with your Facebook or Instagram account or post in the last 365 days. I think that's as far as you can go. But, so let's say you just even did 90 days. So someone who has interacted with, one of your reels, maybe they liked it, maybe they shared it, maybe they commented, maybe they went to your profile and started following you, or maybe they saw one of your stories and did something and took a poll, whatever. They interacted with your account in any way. that would add them to this audience. So they're somewhat warm. They've seen you, they know you, they've had some interaction. So that's a great audience to target, is people that have interacted with you on social. The next one is visited your website. Now this one starts to get a little tricky now with some of the updates and the Apple updates where they won't allow certain things to be tracked. It's surely not a thing where you can't do it anymore. You just have to go about it a different way. And verifying your domain, and when you set up your pixel, there's, just a few different things that you do to make sure that it works well. And I know that's pretty vague, but when you're using a tool, what I use a plugin, and it's Pixel Your Site, and it's super easy. All you do is like put in your code and check a box, and bam, you're good. So it's not like you have to go code or do anything crazy. Anyway, back to the point of visiting a website. So basically, it's just all using this pixel. So you create a custom audience, and it's going to be basically, you would want to use someone I usually have an audience of just general website visitors. If you visited our site in the last, let's say 90 days, then you would go in this audience, and I just always have this audience. And then that way, anyone who has come to our website, however they got there, whatever page they visited, they're in this audience, and I can run an ad to them, which we're going to get into in a second. And then video views. So video is huge right now, and it's always been huge, but even bigger now with TikTok exploding and Reels, and on Facebook and Instagram, right? So I mean, it's big. Video view ads are a great way. So let's say you have Reels that you leverage. You take these Reels and you run an ad. You turn them into an ad, and you just run, let's say, just a brand awareness. Like, you just want to get as many people to watch it that are in this targeted audience. And all you're doing is you're tracking view time. So now you can create an audience of anyone who has watched a certain percentage of this video. So let's say it's anyone who's watched 50% of the video. I mean, depending on the length of the video, right? That does take into account. If it's a 30-second video, then, if they watched at least half of it, then they're somewhat interested in what you had to say. If they watched 100%, then they're really interested. So now you can create ads based off of this audience. So hey, this audience is warmed up. The whole point of this is to run ads to a warmer audience. Ads that run to a warmer audience always perform better. And that would make sense, because that's just how it works. Someone who knows you and has a little bit more trust in what you are saying is more likely to take whatever action you want them to take, versus someone who has never heard of you before. So that is the video view ads. And then let's touch on retargeting. So a retargeting ad is basically leveraging the pixel and the audience that you have created. Retargeting is just running an ad to someone who you've already targeted, right? You're retargeting them. So let's say you targeted them the first time to visit your website. Okay, so now that they visited your website, let's say you run an ad to them, just to the people that have visited your website. That is called retargeting, and that is the one ad every business should be running. It's something, right? So I would recommend, this is my tip, run a retargeting ad. So what you want to do is obviously have your pixel set up and everything. Make sure you have a lead magnet. And if you don't have a lead magnet, we go back to our previous episodes, because we talk about this extensively, how to create lead magnets. Get your lead magnet on your site and have it set up to where you have this landing page with your lead magnet in a simple form, first name and email. When they fill out that form, they're redirected to a thank you page. You're going to create a Facebook conversion for anyone who has landed on that thank you page. Now you're also going to create an audience of anyone who has visited your website. Okay, so now you have these two audiences. You have this audience of people who visited your website, and you have this conversion, and you have your website landing page. Now you're going to go over to your Facebook Business Manager, and you're going to create an ad, a conversion ad type. So in the campaign, you're going to select conversion type. In your ad set and your targeting, you're going to run an ad only to this audience that has visited your website, and that would be set in the ad set. Now, the ad itself is going to be a call to action to download this free download. And you want to, in the copy of the verbiage of the ad, you want to make sure that you have some compelling content that's going to drive them to talk about their pain points, talk about the reasons why they should download this thing, and say download. Click on the link below to download, and then they'll click on it, and then they go to your landing page. And then just use some image that's compelling. If you can do a video, great. So basically what's happening is now you are running an ad to anyone who has visited your website. And that ad isn't, hey, buy our service. It's, you're still warming them up. It's, hey, here's a free download. Obviously they've been to your website. They kind of know you. So now you're giving them an ad to download something where they're going to get to know you even better. All right, so that is, and then you can take it one step further, and anyone who has taken the action of downloading, now you can retarget them and run a different ad. Maybe now this ad is someone who, an ad about your services. So they're obviously warmed up even more. So this is how you can utilize retargeting and move people through your funnel. Okay, so that's a lot of information to get started with. So your actions today is to go to Facebook Business Manager and create your account and start playing around. Start playing around with it. If you're going to run an ad, you don't have to start off crazy. Start with, $10 to $20. I would recommend, if you really want to try this, do $10 to $20 and see what happens. And also know that there is a little learning curve for the Facebook Business Manager as well for Facebook. So pixel data is built in time. It doesn't always happen overnight. So sometimes if you're going to run a conversion ad, it needs to know who are the people that I need to target. It's got to find them. There's billions of people out there to target. So it can take a little bit of time for things to start to grow and to happen, but you got to give it a chance. Another recommendation is once you start an ad, it goes into this learning phase. So don't continuously change things every day. Set it and just let it be. Let it be for a little bit. Right now, if there's a gross error and you need to fix some verbiage or something, then yeah, you got to update it. But don't just oh, this isn't working yet, I'm going to go ahead and tweak this, or oh no, maybe I'll tweak this. No, just let it be. Let it be for a week or whatever. I would recommend at least a week or so. I mean, it depends on your budget. It needs to get through this learning phase. And sometimes it can't get out of the learning phase if you don't give it enough budget, and whatever, that's fine. At least in the beginning. Once you get going and you really want to be proficient with your ads, then yes, you want to make sure you're getting out of that learning phase and you're giving your ads enough budget. But for right now, that would be my recommendation. Start small. And once you run an ad, just leave it alone. Don't keep changing it because you're just going to keep messing it up. If you found this episode valuable, please leave us a review and share it with your friends. I appreciate your time being here, and we'll see you in the next episode.